With SAS DI Studio, it's easy to create data integration jobs. What if you have existing SAS programs or SAS code? Well, you can import the existing SAS code and use it as a way to jumpstart the development of your data integration projects. To do this, you simply click on a folder and say Import SAS Code. And what you do next is you go ahead and select the SAS programs you'd like to import. So you click the Add button, and what we can do is select any .sas file. If you need some SAS programs to demonstrate this with, you can use the sample programs which are found under the SAS Foundation in the core library. This is usually under Program Files, SAS, SAS Foundation, 9.2, Core Sample. And what we'll do is we can select one or many programs. I'll just select one to begin with and push OK. SAS will use the SAS Code Analyzer in base SAS to analyze the code as the code runs. It will automatically create some output that SAS Data Integration Studio uses. And what SAS Data Integration Studio does is use the output of the SAS Code Analyzer to create automatically some metadata objects. And it's going to create those for the libraries and the tables, if there are permanent libraries and tables assigned. And it's automatically going to create a DI job. So the conversion process has completed. We can look at the logs if we choose to. I'll just say no. And what you'll see in the left-hand side, we have now our job that was generated. And it has the same name as the .sas file name, and it has the word generated after it. But here now we can see the actual, for every data step and procedure, you'll see a separate node or transform for those steps. And they actually say the name of the procedure that was being used. So this job had a series of data steps that produced some data, and then they called some procedures to run, followed by some additional procedures and data steps. So this is the immediate visualization that you get to see. It's a completed data integration job. At this point we can add metadata to the job. If we wanted to, we could come and add a sticky note, for example, and we could just go ahead and document this job. This job is one of the SAS samples. And we can put that on some documentation. We can go ahead and run this job by clicking on Run, and it will run the job as it is. This does not modify the code in any way. What it does is it runs the job with all the various steps. And if we zoom out, you can see that this job actually had multiple steps than we saw on the screen because we didn't scroll over. Down below, we can actually see that all the steps completed successfully. We can see any warnings or errors that may have taken place, and as well as statistics. These statistics actually show us, as we can do with other jobs, the amount of CPU time, memory, and I/O, and number of threads that were used by each step. And we can actually visualize this in a chart which shows the longest parts of the job indicated by the longest bars. So we can see how much time each step took. If we minimize that window, we can zoom back in, and now we can go into any one of the steps and do further modification to it. It's important to note then that what it's doing is every step is not being modified. Your data steps remain the same. They're just inserted as user-written code transforms. And if we go into any one of those transforms, we can see the code by clicking on Code, and you'll see the type of code is user-written body, and this is the code that was copied from the existing SAS program. Let's close this job and look at another one. This time we'll go ahead and import another piece of SAS code, and this one happens to be in my personal folder on my desktop. It's called example number 2. And what we'll do is go ahead and run that code and import the results of the SAS Code Analyzer, and we'll look at that example 2. This example contains some procSQL, and one thing to note is if the code analyzer and the import SAS code capability sees SQL or proc sorts being used, it will actually use the SQL transform in DI Studio instead of a user-written code node. And if we open that up, we can actually see the SQL join transform being used, and we can use all the features that are available in it. Again, the default setting right now is it's user written code, and we can override that and use generated code if we wanted to. So right now it's just important to know that it actually is user written code. You can see right here it preserved the code as it is. And if you wanted to have that be automatically generated, we'd say automatic. It will do the same with sort steps. It will put the sort code behind a sort transform. Let's import one other example. Sometimes we have jobs that are not something that we can run from our local system. You may not have the data, or maybe the job requires be run on the mainframe or a server environment. So what we can do in these cases is, instead of actually running the job to do the analysis, we can have the job run in its production environment or test environment, and have the output of the SAS code analyzer be stored to a file. And what we can use is the import SAS code facility, and instead of importing the SAS code, we're going to import an already converted file. The already converted file is a file that's been already run through the SAS code analyzer as the job ran. So I'm going to add one of these in. These files typically can have different extensions, but typically they'll be the .sca files. And I'll select one of those and choose OK. Now at this point, SAS DI Studio is just reading in that file with the descriptive metadata about the running of the job. And what it's going to do is use that information to go ahead and create some libraries, some table objects, and also a job. So look on the left-hand side, you can see those objects being created as we speak. So there's a couple libraries and a bunch of tables, as well as a job. The job is called example number 1. Now if we open that job up, you'll see that although it didn't run the job, it used the output of SAS code analyzer to create these metadata objects. And what we also see is that the diagram on this particular one has multiple inputs and outputs, and these are all shown as metadata objects. So this happens to be some life insurance data, and what we're doing is doing some summary followed by some data steps. There's a sort taking place. There's multiple intermediate tables, and there's lots of output tables that are being generated. So this is part of a ETL process, maybe loading a data mart for life insurance analysis, and it was all done in code before. Now we actually get to see it in DI Studio, and from here we can use this as a quick start to doing further work in our data integration environments. So this is a quick demonstration of a few imports of the SAS code capability. This allows you to get a jump start on your data integration development by using work you've already done in existing base SAS programs. Thank you.